Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night for Enterprise fans. We've got a live one for you today. This is game 3 of LUF versus Vitasia. Whoever wins this one gets all the marbles and moves on to face Possum Morpheus in the round of 8, or in the round of 16. Tonight, I'm joined by Aaron Lore on the restream, Banging on tracking, and Fiery Blizzard on comms. How are you doing today, Fiery?
Doing well as always, Scars. We're excited for this match. The first game 3 of the tournament, the first win and move on, lose, and your tournament comes to an end of the entire tournament going on. So, should be an exciting match. Both of these game 1 and game 2 have been very close within minutes of one another. We will see if this is going to be more of a jet seed like game 2, or if it's going to be more of a little bit of a slog requiring several moon checks like game 1. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Arlenor has rolled for us today. What are you hoping for?
You know, I'm hoping that the gauntlet is at the Masamune altar. I want to see some evil masks today.
Yeah, not too scary like it normally would be, because every character can equip anything as part of the Omnidextrous flag. Really sort of the key point of this tournament. So if you have a Nerf Hammer, the evil masks are not very scary. You're going to be doing quad 9s to them. If you have a crystal ring or any dragoon gear, the red dragons aren't too bad either. So the Masa altar really doesn't scare as much as it would normally in a normal free enterprise seed. Sort of a quirk to the Omnidextrous flag. What are your takeaways on sort of the flags that we're playing today? What do you like about it?
This is sort of the everyone goes Burr flag set. We all talk about Cecil goes Burr, but today we can get Kane go Burr and Rydia go Burr and Sid go Burr and maybe even Yang go Burr if we don't get anything else in terms of power.
Yeah, unfortunately with this flag set, if your Yang is going Burr, you're a little bit disappointed, because that probably means you haven't really found any good characters or any good gear. But we'll see what will happen. Worth noting that it is AC standard, but our restrictions are on Cecil, Yang, and Fusoya. That does actually give us an interesting fact that Edge can be freely available in the overworld. It can be our starting character, or not a starting character, it can be our starting partner character. Edge can be on Hobbs and can be also in Baron Inn, which does give you quite a bit of power quickly. We are restricted on the start between Rosa and Porum, so you're guaranteed your white mage. The difference between there is Rosa has a little bit more power, but Porum does learn that exit spell. That can be very important. We are currently on the character screen, but I believe that RC today is going to be starting with that Porum. But we will see who our partner character is, and maybe that will influence what our runners do at the start. My expectation, I assume, same with you, Scarsor, is that both our runners will go right into Eblin Castle, regardless of who is paired up with this Porum, and we shall see what power the seed does give us at the start.
Do you think we'll see anything interesting out of that random kit?
You know, we both call for the 99 adamant armors or the 99 heroin robes. We might start with, the Libra kit with 50 bestiaries. I've seen the Castlevania kit quite a bit recently, but maybe we'll just go a little bit more basic and even get the basic kit.
I'm thinking it might be a Sid kit today, because I want to see just how long our runners can hold on to their wine.
We shall see. Speaking of that, well, we can get J items in shop, but it is S Pro, which means you're not going to find your Sirens, your Bacchus ones, your Hourglasses unless they are in Coco's shop, which requires you to forge. Our forge today is the Super Smith, so we will get one of the several GBA Advance exclusive items. Several of them are powerful. Others are pretty much worthless in this flag set. And some of them are pretty sort of middling. But we'll see if our runners do get that Adamant Rock and the Legend Sword to complete that objective. We have 7 objectives for you today. You can read them in the center here. It is defeat the Football Gauntlet, that is the All Gauntlet, defeat the top a tower, lower Babel, complete Cave Bahamut, or Cave Value as we might call it, break the Dark Elf spell with the Twin Harp, open the Troya Treasury with the Earth Crystal, drop the Magma Key into the Agate Well on a K-Force hook, means that our underground access must be through the hook, and have Coco forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant. And we are required to beat 6 of 7, so we are not required to do all 7 of them. It is unlikely we see all 7 of them, but we shall see. And one last note, our treasure settings are also T-Pro Max Tier 5, so we do have a little bit of weighting on the treasures, so our underground areas will have a little bit more power. But we are Max Tier 5, so you're not going to get your white spears or defense swords from a free chest. Our key item settings are going to be Main, Moon, and Trap. Means our LST traps are in play, but summon spots do not hold key items, so things like the King and Queen spots in the Fey March or the Baron Basement Throne will have nothing for us in terms of key items. But our runners are off.
And the double white mage start. It's wonderful. And the Earth Crystal. Oh, that's an objective on the board immediately, and I think they're not going to Eblin.
No, and that is the money kit too. Not terribly useful, just simply because our shops aren't going to be really available until Underground, and you'll get a lot of money just naturally in this flag set. But yeah, that Earth Crystal, you're immediately opening up that treasury. You have a higher chance of hitting the good stuff. Anyone who's played this flag set knows that the good stuff is basically just heroin robes. A couple other things good there too, but heroin robes are sort of the top tier item you can get.
So how many heroin robes do you think we're going to get out of this starting treasury, this 2-minute treasury?
I mean, I'll stick with just the one. We'll get like 8 tier 5s, but it'll just be one heroin robe, which is still more heroin robes than I feel like I've seen recently. We do get our bedward item. We do not have a Demist Hunt in our seat today. We do get that free key item. It is a ninja hat. Not too upset about that. Gives us a little bit of agility manipulation, which can be important.
I think the real value in the ninja hat is that sleep means that when you're taking on the trap chests with Staleman, you can't be put to sleep if your agility isn't perfect.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Status immunities are great. Same with that Drain Sword. More agility manipulation, 2 Drain Swords. Your anchor comes free. No heroin robes though. My prediction of 1 heroin robe is gone, but a number of Gungnir spears. That will certainly provide us enough power to get started. With the Omnidextrous flag, we can wield a weapon in both hands, and the weapon or damage formula is significantly better when you can equip 2 weapons versus 1. And Vitasia is going to go into Eblin Castle immediately rather than chasing that Earth Crystal, and does get an early Rune Axe for his troubles here.
And that Rune Axe might be more trouble than it's worth if it pushes him to take a swing at those Mad Ogres without that magic number of 61 defense in the back row.
But maybe he'll get a Rune Ring to help him with those Mad Ogres. We will find out. But we do actually know there is a crystal armor in the treasury as well, or there's that Aegis shield that does the same as a Rune Ring and basically cuts in the damage or the defense necessary to no-sell the Mad Ogres by half, only needing 32 physical defense to get away with those Mad Ogres. And a Poison Axe.
A Poison Axe. So in this case, would you rather have the Rune Axe on with a slightly higher power, or the Poison Axe with its the strength bonus?
So my take is the Rune Axe generally early. They have the same accuracy you're putting in the center slot. We do see an early Flame Dog check from LUF as well, with a power shirt. But honestly, I can go either way. You could technically dual wield them too. If you're going after those Mad Ogres, though, that Aegis shield would have been pretty important. We do get a character check pretty quickly from Vitasia here. It is distinct 7. That means there are 7 characters in the seed that we can get. We have no dupes on, so if this is a character that we already have, that is Porum or Rosa, I do not expect this boss to be fought. Simply because it would generally be a waste of time unless it is exactly an alt gauntlet.
The early experience can be valuable with a Porum start because she gets exit so early. I believe if you do... Oh, and there's Edge, so the not fighting the boss is moot.
Well, there is 2 edges on our screen. There is one in Baron Inn as well. With the absolutely vanilla guards. So we see both parts of Baron Inn on our screen at once. We have Baron guards on the left and Baron Inn 1 at its vanilla location. And we have Yang, or Karate, who would normally takes place in Baron Inn 2 on Mount Hobbs.
Ooh, and that evil wall is not something you want to see going into this without a fast anchor.
No, luckily I believe that Rosa does have a crystal armor, so that will help quite a bit in surviving this evil wall, but you will still take damage as we just saw. Vitasia picking up that Blizzard Spear from the sort of, I don't want to say drop-down chest, but that sort of chest that you get after fighting the Hobbs boss. Not too bad, has AoE Blizzard. That can be useful on certain bosses early, such as, say, a Calbrana Dolls at Antlion Cave or something of that nature.
The Blizzard Spear is also very useful for keeping your anchor down. If you have a very low HP anchor, making sure that queuing up an attack that won't be redirected to a party member if the boss takes care of it for you is wonderful.
And let's also not forget that it is particularly great against the Flame Dog. Being weak to ice, LUF does get through that evil wall, thankfully. Not taking a death there. Evil wall is a cheater, but we do get that early darkness. Do you want to explain why that early darkness is so pivotal?
Yes, we have K-Force Hook on, which means that our underground, that to acquire the magma key, we must first, it must be from a check that requires the hook to complete, that requires underground access to complete. Which means that magma key is not on the moon, and our runners will know that.
Yeah, so we might end up getting another situation where we're going to see a very full clear of the underground. That there are certain checks that you may not really do in this flag set because they just take too long, such as Dwarf Castle. But in this instance, you're going to want to check everything in the underground until you at least find that magma key or know approximately what to chase from the moon, such as, say, a tower key that you might not have underground, or a pan. So that just prioritizes just staying on Earth, which has been a theme this tournament. We will also see whether or not LUF decides to take that Darkness Crystal and check who the character is up on the Lunar Dais. I would say it's pretty unlikely having 2 white mages and an edge, but you do never know.
With a chance at a Fusoya, it would be very nice. And if both runners check both Hobbs and, well, if LUF goes to check Hobbs before launching the whale, he might think that there's a restricted character waiting for him on the moon, which could be Fusoya.
That is true. The other thing that is always going to be interesting when you're watching these races is when do our runners decide to check ordeals, or do they even check ordeals at all? Ordeals is a long check. It does give you 3 boss checks, but it sort of amounts of people don't like climbing up. But we shall see if either of our runners do entertain an early ordeals, assuming that our hook isn't just on that mountain and we're forced up there anyways.
And there's LUF not even looking at what boss is in the waterfall, because if it were the alt gauntlet, that first spot would have been populated.
Yes. And Vitasia is taking this opportunity to go up through Zot and is going to try his hand at these 2 bosses. 9,000 HP in the first spot, 6,000 in the second spot. We do have the power, but there are certain bosses that you would not want to see in either of these locations that will cause a little bit of a problem. But we should have the power, we should have the defense to get through most things that are here, especially with that power shirt increasing our DPS quite considerably. And we see LUF going to the Antlion Cave.
And there's Kanyatso at the first spot in Zot. 9,000 hit points here, but it's a very slow spot, so we're likely not even to see that punch. Oh, well, certainly won't see the wave. Surely.
We do get a vanilla Antlion and Antlion Cave. Yes, the spot is slow if you use that Blizzard Spear as well. Without that wave up, Kanazo is weak to ice. We do get that pan from the Antlion Cave. So the question is always interesting when you get the pan this early, do you fade Fabul? Especially knowing that you have the Earth Crystal in hand. Do you try to fade Fabul unless it has exactly that hook?
Usually I don't, because it could still be a different required key item. LUF already has the Darkness Crystal, but it could be Darkness for Overworld Darkness, it could be 1/2 of Forge, it could be any number of things which inform your underground play. And it's usually a quick enough check.
Yeah, the question is because you already have that Earth Crystal and you have the pan in hand, it's a question of whether or not if you wait on the pan, unless it's exactly that hook, you're going to be able to single dip Fabul. Right? But it's the difference between a single and a double dip. How much are you really losing knowing that you already have that Earth Crystal in hand? And how quickly are you going to want to actually turn in that pan once you get underground? We actually see one dupe on Zot, and the other one being a Yang, which we talked about earlier, not the greatest character in this flag set. Great for anchoring, and I expect that's exactly what Vitasia is going to use this Yang for.
And that is the second vanilla boss of the seed, Valvalis showing up in her normal spot.
Yep, not quite having Berserk yet on that Rosa. At least I didn't see it there. Purim does have Berserk, however. And we have LUF going through the Skull and Stalemate chest, picking up the first Holy Sword of this seed, an Excalibur. A very nice increase in the power that he has available for his team. Fortunately, Vitasia does not get that Yang down. I don't think this spot gives enough experience to that Yang for it to really make a difference that we have 2 Drain Swords in hand. So that is minus 10 agility. So that Yang should still serve perfectly well as an anchor. We shall see whether or not this 2+ minute check paid off for Vitasia.
You know, if this gives exactly the hook, I think he'll have a bit of a lead.
We do see LUF doing some life glitching on this Black Hat Lamia, getting a little bit more EXP for his party, and just a white spear for Vitasia from that Zot check.
That is another holy weapon, at the very least.
And it is better than a Gungnir Spear.
Oh, much better. I'll take a white spear over a Gungnir every day.
But what you got from that Zot is you got an anchor from that Yang. Got more life glitching going on for these Mad Ogres using those axes to great effect. We get some cries coming out from Purim. I wonder if we're going to try to steal a Bacchus wine or two from these Mad Ogres. We just got one attempt here. Cry does decrease the level of the Mad Ogres by a bit, which makes the sneak more likely to be effective in stealing those Bacchus wines that grant you the Berserk status. Bit interesting, because we do have those 2 white mages in hand.
I say it's a good play. It's just a question of how many do you think is enough?
Yep. If Vitasia does get that Darkness Crystal, we will see what he does with it. But yeah, the seed or this flag set without the Sea Hero flag means that you're free to pick your anchor, and with everyone being able to equip Drain Swords and Drain Spears, even though we don't have a Cursed Ring available in the seed other than a random drop from, say, Mount Ordeals, we should be able to effectively anchor with most characters. It looks like that Porum is going to be the anchor now that Porum learns Exit on LUF's side.
And LUF spikes the hook from the Mag Ogre's chest. So I think, which, really, as you were mentioning, Fading Fabul now looks rather tempting. And it looks like he might be.
Yep. We shall see what the hook route has in store for LUF and all of us today. That Power Staff, very nice pickup, plus 10 strength. Will be great for the late game. And we do see that it is just a form of Mylon at the waterfall. We did see carrots in the item shop. No carrots were bought, though.
I'm a little ashamed to admit this, but I was more enthralled by that Soma drop and wondering if he was going to buy one.
Especially if there's a cane that shows up. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
cane needs MP.
We did buy a Mute Dagger and a Black Sword, both very nice for increasing wisdom. There's a Dwarf Axe if you didn't have 2 Drain Swords already. But that Mute Dagger and those Black Swords will come in handy, increasing wisdom by +5. Edge can work perfectly well as a sweeper if you give him enough wisdom. Sweeper being that he can just fully clear basically AoE chests. Particularly useful in Sylph Cave, where you have those ghost chests. And I'm sure both of our runners do know how to use Edge effectively as a sweeper for that, so you're not too troubled by going through those chests.
And it looks like that was a duplicate Porum, and what we know is the Kaipo guards on the hook route.
Very nice to find at 25,000. A little bit of a shame because you're probably not going to get the other half of the experience in that officer. But you'll take it for having a very easy path through the underground. Of course, we do not know what that King Queen Eblin is going to be. But we know it's not going to be Evil Wall, which is nice for our runners to know.
It could still be DKC.
And we do get that pass from the double Staleman chest down the Eblin hook route. So at the end of the seed, assuming that we don't end with, say, an All Gauntlet at the Moss Altar, we'll be able to go and get to Zeromus through the, basically the Troya Inn. Or really the Troya Bar. So this is basically going to be the Edge show for a little bit on LUF's side. He has all of our DPS. Rosa is going to be casting Berserk, and Porum is just going to be holding our speed constant, really.
And that job is no small feat.
Not at all. Probably the most important job of the entire seed. Basically, the idea here is that you have someone who is very slow in the middle, someone we call our agility anchor, and then everyone's speed is set relative to that middle agility. So if the middle slot is very slow, then everyone else is fast, and there's a limit to how fast a character can be. And so if that middle slot is very slow, everyone acts at the same speed. So the fact that, say, Edge has a very high agility and Rosa sort of has a low agility no longer matters. They're both acting at the same speed, and so are all the enemies. This is useful, especially in the late game where you have a lot of spots that have a lot of agility. When all of your characters act at the same speed as the enemies, you get a lot more turns and you're a lot more efficient. We'll see if Vitasia tries to steal any Bacchus line. It doesn't look like he is. Just berserked up that Edge that is currently in the middle, which we would refer to as fast anchoring. So Edge is significantly faster than everyone else on the screen. So he gets a lot more turns relative to everyone else.
I think that's a little risky with the ogres specifically because they do roll on the high side for speed, but Edge is so fast that when berserked, it usually pans out in the runner's favor.
I want to say they're in the 20s in terms of agility.
Like, yeah, right around the same area as Edge.
Yeah. Vitasia is sort of following in LUF's footsteps. Obviously, is ahead that Zotchek has a Yang as a viable anchor and now has two well, as a viable anchor, I say that, but Yang has actually been kept alive for the most part here. And LUF is going to be, further or closer to getting underground. But we're going to see what this King-Queen Evelyn spot is. There are a couple things that can be rude here as a very high physical attack stat. And there is that Baigen.
Exactly, one of the bosses that can be very rude here. And while you mentioned fast anchoring earlier to maybe make the enemy slower, not possible here. This is in the high 50s for agility, I believe.
It is certainly not slow. It's faster than it has any right to be. Luckily, this is Omnidextrous, so heavy armors can be equipped by everybody, and in this case, that will be prove to be very useful.
Possum in chat pointing out that it's not the high 50s, it's the low 50s. 53 agility here, to be exact. 38 at the Rubicon spot. So if you had, say, a heroine robe, you might be able to fast anchor for Rubicons. But it's typically advisable to slow anchor for both Hoofcraft spots.
And luckily, Edge is getting an attack off before these arms explode, and in fact getting 2 attacks off before these arms explode. I don't know how much HP those arms have. I want to say it was enough to take out both characters there. If it's 10% of that spot's HP, which has 6,000, those arms would have done lethal damage to both of our characters standing.
I believe they get... Oh, Dave in chat is pointing out that it's 1/12 of the HP spot, and that the arms here have 500. So LUF would have been fine if the explodes went off, because Edge was over 500, and Rosa could have, well... The spot gives no experience, so Rosa could take a hit.
See, this is why I commentate, this is why I read chat. They have good knowledge that I don't particularly always know off the top of my head. And Dave is certainly one of those community members who does know a lot about this game. Great person to talk to, great person to learn from as well. If you're looking for more information about this Discord, we do have a Wikipedia or a wiki site. We also do have the Free Enterprise Discord. We invite everyone to join that and learn a little bit more about this randomizer and have a lot of fun. It's a great community. I would personally encourage anyone interested to join. It is honestly probably the most fun in a community that I've had in quite a long time.
One of the best places on the internet, I would say.
We do get LUF doing a pitfall at 23 minutes. Very quick time.
Oh, Aaron Lord's reminding us that Vitasia's stream delay was a little more than that 10 minutes we require. So the LUF's lead may not be as much as it appears.
I want to say it was something like 45 seconds to a minute, but I do not recall the exact timing here. But yeah, this is Let's see, Vitasia's up at Tower of Zot, so making a pretty good time. But it seems to be about equal, actually, if you sort of remove that Tower of Zot climb. I do see a Demist at the top of Tower as well. So probably not wanting to go up there quite quickly. Demist is an annoying boss.
And it looks like LUF is following up on his fate of Fabul by immediately going down for the Toad Lady and the Pan Bong.
Makes sense. The old adage of free enterprise, even though it might not, might be a little bit ignored in these, these seeds in particular, do your objectives and do your freebies. And the Pan Bonk is indeed a freebie.
And while Case Summon is off, so the bonk itself won't give a key item, it can always give a very useful item. I've seen something as good as Avenger pop out from there.
I've even seen crystal swords, I believe, in this flag. This flag set really does make you just want to step on the gas pedal. It generally isn't too shy about giving you power. You just need to be efficient with it. But if you want power, you just have to look a little bit. Let's see what the sylphs give us. Just a rune ring.
A rune ring could be very useful still, providing immunity to the breath attack from the mobiles for clearing the back of Sylph.
Yep, that is rune ring number 2 for LUF. They were for sale also in the Eblin shop. But 2 rune rings can be better than 1 because now everyone can have immunity to those breaths if you didn't want to use something else that gave you immunity. We actually do see LUF going and gearing up this edge as a sweeper, giving as much wisdom as possible to that edge. I believe you need 28 wisdom to guarantee a blitz kill of those ghosts. And that's sort of the goal here. If you can either set your battle speed to 3 or do a little bit of run buffering, it may not be entirely necessary with as many enemies there are on the screen on the ghost screen. But you should be able to just use the Blitz command and take out all 6 of the ghosts. Without seeing any of the Fire 2s, it should be pretty safe.
Safe, reliable, and fast. Everything you want out of an execution method.
But you see Vitasia going through these officers and soldiers. Shouldn't be too long now. And Vitasia, LUF does reset out of the chest. I'm not entirely sure what that was about.
He didn't run buffer, so the Fire 2s were going off anyways.
Okay.
He did drop his battle speed down to 3, so now he should be fine on the second attempt.
Yeah, lowering that battle speed does give you a little bit of a safety buffer. Especially with only 3 characters and only 2 of them standing.
Well, for the ghost chest, it's fine because you need 7 RA1 actors, and the ghosts give you 6.
That is true. Vitasia doing that pitfall. We will say 2330, so probably more of 2630. And LUF does pick up that spoon.
With an Excalibur in hand, the spoon is a little less appealing, but bringing a second Berserker online will be very nice for the endgame.
And there we go. We got something much better than that spoon, the Crystal Sword. The holiest of swords, other than the possible Lightbringer we may get from the Forge. I would say this seed is not locking in power. How about you?
Not at all. very much unlike certain other matches we may have commentated.
I do not believe we will be seeing such silly aroma struts. We do get that rat tail. That is interesting because that is 2 key items we've picked up in Sylph. That's sort of the magic number when it comes to these trap chests. So for the way K-Trap works is that you take every area and split them up separately. So Sylph is an area, the Warrior's Chest is its own area, Flame Dog is its own area, the 3 traps in the Ebelin Castle are its own area. And it will put a number of trap chests in the key item pool, anywhere from 2 to the number of trap chests, and each additional trap chest above 2 has a 50% chance of being added, so 50% for 3, 25% for 4, and so on and so on. And so you're guaranteed 2 key item spots being in a trap chest pool or a key item pool in any given area. So if you get your 2 key items, you're looking at much worse odds for getting a 3rd key item, but that doesn't mean that what you get from chests aren't going to be useful.
Yeah, the non-key items we've seen in these chests are almost more useful than the key items. A Crystal Sword, an Avenger. This team is almost ready for Zeromus.
Some people will absolutely go to Zeromus with a party 3. 3 characters in the party. Even with these 3 characters, just get Rosa up to Cure 4, and you could do some work for sure. We do see that breath coming out, that Edge not having a rune ring or something else to prevent that breath attack. Which this then does get quite a bit scary. Luckily, did heal before taking this fight, though. We do see Vitasia went the other way around in Sylph, is doing the Poison Treasury side first, and then we'll probably take on the Toad Lady and Bonk Yang with the Pan.
And it seems that Demist is enough to scare our runners away from the keyless tower play. Because usually you see people doing that very early because of the idea of do your objectives, do your freebies.
Yeah, this could also be a... Let's see if I pull up a tower key from somewhere before going up the tower. Because no one really wants to go up the tower twice. I mean, that's why the keyless tower is such a meme. It's also why it's a meme when you get vanilla tower key at the top.
And with K-Trap on, there's, at least a couple more chances to get that tower key in the tower itself.
Absolutely. It felt like it happened in every other seed in the Ebelin Elixir League during Potion Party. Hasn't really happened all too much, I believe, in these OMG seeds. We got both runners clearing the mobile chest. I think Vitasia's going to get out here a little bit sooner. LUF is having a little bit of an issue in terms of that breath targeting. Again, just not having that rune ring or something else, or the ninja head or something like that. Well, the ninja head doesn't protect it, but the rune rings that he has in the inventory certainly would protect Edge from that breath attack.
And just a samurai bow for the trouble.
But I would say overall you got a nice a nice upswing in power from that back of Sylph. I would not be upset about that at all.
Oh no, never upset about receiving an Avenger.
And a Crystal Sword to pair with that Avenger. And in this instance, the spoon, so that when you attack that Demist, who is resistant to Holy Elemental damage, that spoon will come in a bit of handy there too. Whether as a weapon to wield, or maybe just to do 9,999 damage to Demist.
Yeah, the top of tower spot only has about 18,000 hit points, so going through half of it would definitely feel like it offsets that resistance to your main weapon.
Fortunately, Luke forgetting to heal before taking the warrior's chest has to reset out. Luckily, did save outside, so didn't lose all too much time. Certainly a little bit of time loss, but we have seen much worse time losses by various other people for also doing that exact same thing. I know I've done it multiple times. Should be fine now. Vitasia has cleared out his Sylph Cave, is going to use that pan to wake up Yang here. And we'll see what Vitasia does, if he follows to the Warrior's Chest and the Feymarch freebie, or if he decides he wants to check Shield 1 and 2 immediately. And the full defense. I don't think either of our racers have done it.
No, both of them received the pan before doing full defense and decided that fading full was the play. Looks like Vitasia's hot on Luf's heels, though, following him into the march.
And there's the Adamant Rock from the Warrior's Chest, so we are one half of the Forge away from seeing what our Supersmith item is going to be.
Is it greedy of me to hope that the freebie is the Legend Sword?
Oh, it's always nice. But no, we do see another objective. We knew our Magma Key was more than likely going to be sitting here in the underground. It certainly had to be through the underground. It is just sitting there right in the Feymarch freebie. And that is a Feymarch we are not going to take. The Dark Elf, not too bad. That DKC is something you just run away from. That is 1,300 damage of pain per round. It is a good thing we do not have to deal with that. So we have the Magma Key, that's going to be an objective. We have the we have the Earth Crystal, that's another objective. We have the Darkness Crystal, that's a third. We have Underground Access, that is a fourth. So we need the Harp, or the Legend Sword, and the Alt Gauntlet. We are pretty close to being sort of one key item away from Go mode. Or, we're one key item plus the Alt Gauntlet away from Go mode. So, do you stay on Earth? Well, you'd probably do the tower.
Yeah, do my objective. And since both runners have faded Fabul, I believe they'll both be doing the full Fabul.
Ooh,
that Rat Tail into Artemis Arrows. Wonderful.
Can't even talk about the pink tail for that long. That is always great. And that is not Artemis Arrows, but we kind of already have our fill of Holy Swords. But the next Cal will be a dart. But you probably rather have Edge, swinging a Crystal Sword Avenger rather than darting.
Oh, yeah. And, double Excalibur on your secondary Zerker is nothing to scoff at.
This is what we call a big brain play, because I'm thinking, you drop the hover, standard is like drop the hovercraft there, check your Fabul checks just in case that is the other tail, you can turn them in both times. But if you're just that efficient where the rat tail turns into the pink tail like the greatest thing ever, and then you don't have to worry about it. It is always great to see the rat tail turning into the pink tail. You don't even get the option to not turn in that pink tail. You are sitting through extra text boxes and you are receiving that item whether or not you want it. So here's a question. If you find either the Half of Forge or the Harp, do you bother taking a lot of the trap chests at this point? Or do you just go full-on face check mode for that Alt Gauntlet?
I think there's 2 trap chests I would do, and that's because routing-wise, there's no better time to do them than when you're on the way to the altar next to them.
Our Artie arrows were in Sheila. They kind of got moved a little bit from the grotto, but we did get them. But otherwise, Fabul was definitely a bust. Do have to turn that rat tail for the pink tail. Guess once another Excalibur. That is another key item that is probably more significant. If I can count correctly, that is 9 key items for LUF. So we are 1 away from that number of 10, which is a nice bonus.
And LUF's going right back underground, probably chasing that objective in the tower, knowing that he's very close to a go mode, knowing that he's probably very close to a 10th key item. This is riveting.
That 10th key item does give us double experience. So it is a very nice way to have your... basically, want to have your grind post 10 key items. It makes it quite a bit more efficient. You would prefer to go to the moon with 10 key items if you can. So I assume LUF will take the 4 trap chests on the way up just in case one of them does turn into the tower key. We'll see if we do get 1 or 2 of our required key items from the tower. And Vitasia is doing an interesting play, wouldn't you say?
Yes, actually. This is very interesting. Maybe wanting to, saying that the keyless tower has no value. He wants his tower key and he wants it now. He's willing to go to the accursed mountain to get it.
It is 3 boss checks. We will see if one of them happens to be the Algon. We will see if Mount Ordeals gives us another key item that we care about as well. It has been known to have a blue robe in here, maybe not as much as certain other places, like, say, the Cave Bahamut spot this tournament, but it is a huge find if Vitasia does hit the All Gauntlet or one of the required key items up here.
Well, there's not a back attack gauntlet, just somebody left their computer on the mountain.
Not a machine. Here is CPU. And there is that tower key. You called it before. That tower key was sitting in an alert chest in the lower Babel tower. So we will not be double dipping the tower. And I'll make this nice and tidy. And that is our 10th key item for LUF. It's definitely a nice reward. Vitasia is about to enter the mirror room of the Mount Ordeals.
Interesting that he took the Avenger off. Maybe he's anticipating... we haven't seen Golbez yet.
Yeah, that, or basically you're saying, if this is an All Gauntlet, I immediately want to do Flame and Blitz and Flood. Right? Because you're probably not keeping the Strain Spear. So you're you're resetting if it's not exactly the All Gauntlet. So the Avenger would just cost time, because you wouldn't be able to have AoE. We do see the King Queen Eblin at the Super Cannon room, which is a little bit of a shame, because it's one of those bosses that probably take longer now, being here in the Super Cannon room, than it would anywhere else.
Just 1 extra swing. It's not that bad.
Yeah, but you also still rather see that anywhere else, just because it is a free fight.
Oh, of course. You want to see that, frankly, at Cave Bahamut.
Or a required element spot. Doesn't matter how much HP a boss has if it just leaves.
And unlike other bosses which just leave, the King and Queen of Eblin are nice enough to still give you the XP in spots where in spots where you would receive it.
Is that your prediction for a retreat Wyvern?
Yeah, I think Retreat Wyvern would be funny, especially because it would be funny if it's Retreat Wyvern but the runners manage to kill it before it gets the turn off.
One of the things we have been lacking this seed, we don't have any dragon killing gear. We haven't found a dragon whip. We don't have a dragoon spear. So killing that wyvern off might be a little bit more difficult than what we normally expect from these seeds.
Oh, LUF considered it. He went into the dart menu and hovered over that spoon and decided it was more useful in his inventory.
You do a quick math there, right? And you say, does a spoon save me a missed phase? If it doesn't, tossing the spoon doesn't make too much sense. If it would, then it starts making sense as well. But we do see that Excal being thrown, not gonna bother with any Zerks here. Gonna throw a Ninja Sword, not the best start here. Ninja weapons have a very middling attack, and the dart damage is a function of that weapon's attack. So something like a Drain Spear is really nice as a dart. In this case, we use Drain Spears because it gives us -10 agility, but if you're looking for something to dart, getting a stack of Drain Spears is always very nice.
If I remember correctly, Drain Spears are such a nice dart that the Free Enterprise developers doubled their price, right?
I don't know what the price is in vanilla for a Drain Spear, so I can't really commentate on that.
Well, you can't buy one in vanilla. You only get the one out of Castle Eblin.
You can sell it,
but it's got a low sell price because it's, for some lore reason, probably because it's a evil weapon.
I'm sure somebody in chat could confirm whether or not they did rate or double the price. It would not surprise me. It is, I feel like, pretty common in randomizers to adjust the prices because weapons that you wouldn't consider great in the vanilla game have incredible utility in a randomizer setting. We do see LUF and Vitasia continuing their high five. Again, Vitasia's stream is about a minute behind. So Vitasia is up a Zot climb and Mount Ordeals. Actually, at this point, LUF has done and completed the entire tower. What do you think LUF does from here? If this does not pan out with either the Legend Sword or the Harp?
Probably the moon. Probably going to Cave Value. But Dwarf's right there.
I guess he does still... No, he turned in the pan. That's right, Save scummed it. That's another power shirt. You know, not too bad if you needed more power in the seed. It does look like LUF is going to take on the Mount Ordeals check for those 3 bosses. A bit surprising to me, you were talking about Dwarf. LUF doesn't have knowledge of either what Dwarf 1 or Dwarf 2 bosses are, because LUF did not climb the Tower of Zot. He does not get that free peek of what is at Dwarf 2, and you would be able to see what boss is at Dwarf 1 just by whoever is hopping around.
I missed it. Did you catch what Dwarf 2 was when it was peaked at Vitasia? Oh, our tracker Bangong chat is saying that it was a sparkle, so we don't know what it is. We know what it isn't. It's not D-Lunars.
Always good to know. That is not D-Lunars. And I'm also, again, shout-outs to our restreamer Eleanor and our tracker Bangagon for doing all the behind-the-scenes work here, too. Also keeping track of who was at Dwarf 2, because you were asking me that question. I'm like, no, I don't even pay attention to that when I'm playing a seed. So...
Yeah, I'm looking for blue, and that's all I'm looking for.
I'm sure I am not the only person when running these seeds or any sort of boss hunt where about 45 minutes into a seed, especially if I have a Baron key in hand, I'll have to be like, who gave us the starting key item? and then occasionally we'll go and start a new game just so I see who is at that first spot.
And rather than contemplating a dart, Vitasia equips the spoon to smack D-Mist.
Yeah, only slightly less than 19,000 HP here. So, not too bad. And we'll get that Sand Ruby. And LUF sees that Drain Spear. And sees that Ruby Sprite. And just resets out.
Which we know is exactly Rubicant's, because Elements was at Fabul.
Yes. We did have that Parade of Fiends. LUF is going to drop that Magma Key. And then it's a question. Do you peek Dwarf? I expect at this point that Zot is out of the question here for LUF. But does he peek Dwarf, or does he raise the whale and go fishing on the moon or the giant? It's interesting to note, LUF still only has 3 characters. He could also peek. Who is at that Sand Ruby?
And it looks like we're going to the moon.
Alright. This is where routing gets, this is where your choices really do decide whether or not you're going to win. In this sort of flag set, a lot of the trap chests, a lot of the moon altars aren't particularly difficult, although in this case with only 3 party members for LUF, and really 2 of them being functional, it could pose a little bit of a problem. But there's always sort of the question of how do you route your moon? You probably do the hair dryers first, just being essentially a K main check, and maybe you go to Giant to check the last arm, also being another essentially K main check, and then getting a peek at who that first boss is at the Giant. Maybe you check Cave Bahamut, because we have seen the All Gauntlet there several times over the past 48 hours. And then where do you go? Do you go to the top of the moon where there are a couple trap chests in the Mura altar? Do you start walking to the bottom of the moon? Do you take the traps in the middle? Do you go to the bottom of the moon, take the altars first, which is statistically a better play? When you're looking for 1 key item and 1 boss, or just 2 key items, really, you don't know what is going to be that correct decision, and that decision can win or lose you a race. So it makes this particular flag set so exciting.
Well, LUF is on the giant, going for the eyeball, the last arm. And interesting that he's going here before going to the moon because of that cave value gauntlet you mentioned. Oh, and Vitasia's hot on his heels.
Both of them doing that? I believe there's a Crystal Sword Avenger in that slot 1, so I don't believe Magnet will be an issue. Should be able to get 2 attacks. Or doesn't have the Avenger on, is going to have that Edge Beast shirt. Magnet. Now you're going to need to wall this Rosa really quickly.
And he berserked her. And she's wearing a crystal armor. No!
Yeah, so the Magnet basically applies stop. And I don't know how long that stop lasts. I don't even bother. But you
lasts roughly 1 eternity.
That sounds about right. But what you can do is reflect the Magnet and stop the last arm from ever doing an action ever again, and then just kill it. So, could have gotten away with that using a Star Veil. That is a common strat that you'll see if you have basically nothing in terms of power, but you do have a Star Veil in your inventory. We do get the Dwarf check now that LUF is back down here. We do see that this is going to be Dark Imps at Dwarf 1. Vitasia picking up that Ninja Hat using that Crystal Sword Avenger Edge. So it's just going to peak Giant 1. see if there are 3 blue robes here. And if not, I expect a reset, especially if it's Mega Sisters.
That's a lot of XP, but you don't want to get it like that.
We do have a Rune Axe and an Avenger. The magic stat and the physical stat isn't so bad, but it is still significantly longer than we would actually want to take for a fight like that. We'll just hedge our bets saying that the All Gauntlet is not behind those Mega Sisters and move on. Meanwhile, we do see LUF dispatching of those Dark Imps, and we'll see that Sparkle coming out from Dwarf 2. This is going to be interesting, too, if this turns out to be one of those required key items. Not having that peak ahead of time may be the difference about why LUF decided to take Dwarf Castle in the first place. And does get a Sid as well. No. No.
No way.
No. No, there was no delay. But
Oh, what? I can't believe this. This makes 5 times, right?
5 times in the past 48 to 72 hours. Which, considering there are 34 boss spots in the entire game, and there are 35 bosses, but it's 34 because the All Gauntlet is guaranteed to be in the seed, someone can run the odds of that. It's very, very, very low. So again, just do your objectives, I guess? I don't know. But there is a Twin Harp at Dwarf, so if LUF decides to do his objectives, he's going to be in go mode.
This is exciting.
That is actually very unfortunate for Vitasia. He's going to need that Legend Sword something very quick on the moon. Otherwise, LUF is going to have a very significant advantage just because he's going to be likely to go directly to that cave value spot, especially after wiping to that last arm, and we'll see he's going to be in go mode.
And here we see LUF, taking a peek into the barren chocobo forest. Unfortunately, he hasn't raised the whale yet, so there's none of those wonderful flying chocobos there.
I guess that wipe took him before he raised that whale. Or he hasn't actually taken the whale, that's probably more. He hasn't actually been up there. So no purple chocobo. But yeah, no dragon killing gear for Vitasia. I wonder if Vitasia is kicking himself a little bit just for not checking that Lunar Dais. I know that feeling. But honestly, this party after this experience is going to be good enough with the amount of power that this seed has thrown at us.
Yeah, regardless of how Vitasia's feeling about not taking the Dais character, he doesn't need it.
No.
This is a party that will mop the floor with Ceromus.
You have that cure 4 on Rosa. Rosa will have more than 2,000 HP, more than likely. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. The only question is, where is that Legend Sword? Will Vitasia find it in quick order? Otherwise, it's, like I said, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Vitasia to catch up.
Has Vitasia checked the hairdryers?
No.
So he's still got a shot.
Yeah?
But will it land?
We shall find out. That's not allowing Rosa to use exit rather than Porum. But we do have something coming up here. I believe it is time for us to take a break, Scarsor. Got Edward, who's going to play us a nice song, hopefully. And we will be back after we hear what the Twin Harp is. Enjoy.
Do you think we're about to see the Legend Sword?
We shall see. We might. But I don't think you chase that Baron key before going to Cave Bahamut.
I hope he doesn't.
Of course, we did get some, as Possum puts it, Tetris 9 music. No, it's Final Fantasy 9 music. I believe last time we commentated it was a Final Fantasy 9 sprite from around the same area of the game. So we're gonna stick with Final Fantasy 9 theme for our restreams, Scarcer. I'm okay with that personally.
Perhaps I should go and play the game then, so I'll recognize everything.
We do have a Kain in the seed. That's going to be character number 5 for Vitasia.
And he starts with a legendary Spear.
The greatest weapon of all time, and by greatest weapon of all time, I mean if you're playing Neki and your Kain starts with a Spear, you're pretty sad.
Very sad, yes. But it's also funny, because it is so sad.
So LUF is deciding to continue going for that giant play. Might be thinking, it's essentially a K-main check. I don't want to leave this hanging. Doesn't really want to be in boss check mode, or maybe thinks that the Alt Gauntlet wants to be a little bit cheeky and find it here. Which we know is not going to pan out for LUF, but I can sort of see the logic behind it. Unfortunately, just not going to pay out this time.
Luckily for LUF, he does have a staunch lead, so long as he goes and completes Cave Bahamut before diving the moon.
Assuming Vitasia doesn't pull the Legend Sword out from one of these chests on the moon. It is statistically more likely to get a key item from any given altar check than it is a trap box. And overall odds are also still weighted towards the altars. You have a minimum of 3 key items or 3 spots in the key item pool on the moon altars, and you have 2 on the trap chests on the moon. We do see, unfortunately, a little bit of a time waster in the Dr. Dialogue, Dr. Luque fight. But it should be pretty quick to dispatch. We have, again, significant amount of power. LUF is going to see those Mega Sisters here. I assume it will also just reset out. It indeed does. For a second, I thought LUF was going to go to Baron.
Oh, I'm so glad he didn't. He's probably very nervous. He's very close to go mode. He doesn't even know that he's in go mode. He's about to know he's in go mode, which would be very good for him.
He's about to see that he's going to be 50% in go mode, and then it will be in go mode. But yeah, Vitasia now has a little bit of a walk to get to his next key item check if he does decide to take that first Behemoth chest or decides to start with the Moon Altars. But LUF, this Alt Gauntlet does take a bit of time, so Vitasia should be able to do a couple of checks within the time that it takes a LUF to complete this Alt Gauntlet. Vitasia will then have to go to the Forge and get his item there. So my expectation is that even if this first Behemoth is going to be the Legend Sword, actually no, if this first chest is the Legend Sword, Vitasia should enter Zeroma's first. Anything after that, I am not entirely sure.
Oh, and he's entering the first... Oh, no, he's doing so much damage that it doesn't really matter. But typically you want to fast anchor for these behemoths because they roll incredibly low on the agility. They max out at 4 points of agility.
Yeah, I don't know how much anchoring that Yang is really doing.
True,
At that level.
that might still be a very... Oh, and he's skipping a dragon.
And just got a Dragoon Spear, too. Looks like gonna go do those behemoths. I wonder if after this behemoth, if he's gonna put on that Dragoon Spear to take on what we colloquially call the Jimmy and Jimmy and the Bimmy and Jimmy chest. Jimmy and Jimmy are the 2 red dragons, and Bimmy and Jimmy is the blue and red dragon chest.
I would say that was an unfortunate low roll on the damage, but with 2,500 hit points, Kane doesn't need the experience.
No. Really, we're not worried about Zeromus at all. This is, where is my Legend Sword or where is my Harp? And the item Gold Gauntlet solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, in most of these seeds, the Zeromus fight isn't so much a final challenge, but a final display of your power overwhelming.
As someone who plays Final Fantasy V Career Day, I am fully aware of having final bosses that are incredibly trivial and are not the challenge of the seed. So it speaks to me. I believe we got the Gold Dragon fight left for LUF. So this is the last fight. We have a free boss with this Bahamut at the Ribbon Room. So Vitasia really needs the Legend Sword to be in one of these 2 boxes. Although LUF is having a little bit of difficulty with this last Gold Dragon. It's not playing nice.
Luckily, both of his characters appear to resist both either lightning and dragons or just lightning because they're not taking a lot of damage. It'll take a while, though.
Got 2 items that don't really matter from the Ribbon Room. LUF does take care of that last Gold Dragon. Vitasia resets out of that Gold Bez. Way too much time. LUF is about to get his crystal, as having 6 of 7 completed. Vitasia is working his way back up, is going to check this Warlock carry chest. So we're going to see LUF exit out of here. More than likely doesn't really need to take a grind, or not. I'm not expecting a grind at this point. The All Gauntlet was a grind. It's going to fly that whale back down to the blue planet, may park it right in front of Troya to use that pass, and then what are we going to see, Scarcer?
We're going to see a lot of damage be thrown out, but also, it seems that people are saying ZZZ in chat. Are they tired? I know it's a little early to be going to bed.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten a bit cold outside recently. It's pretty dark with the whole daylight savings time. Yeah, I could definitely see myself taking a nap. I know I wanted to yesterday. But there's also, we still have to complete this race stream before I can take a nap. And so we do have to beat, the final boss here. This is win crystal, not win game. So we do have to beat this Aromas character. Or at least it says it's Aromas. I'm not entirely sure if it truly is Aromas. It's hard to tell sometimes. Can you help me out there?
Well, the thing about Zeromus is his script sets his magic power to be rather high. So it'd be rather unfair to put him somewhere like Antlion, to allow him to appear somewhere like Antlion Cave, where even with 1,000 hit points, dealing more than your party's max HP is still a problem. And since we can't move him around, what the wonderful developers of this game have done is randomize his sprite. There's a pool of, I believe, over 600 sprites that Zeromus could be. And after the crystal is thrown and Zeromus' true colors are shown, we're in for a treat.
I believe some people like to say, various questions, like whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Some people were asking last time we were on comms together, can it do our taxes? Last time the answer was definitely no. Maybe Zeromus has learned a couple of things. Is the butt cute? Does it have a hat? Of course, that meme goes back to, I believe, the Animate Cup. But we shall see what Zeromus is cosplaying tonight. Meanwhile, Vitasia does get that Legend Sword from the Crystal Sword Altar, and so is also in Go mode. But I expect to see a lot of berserking. And, we were talking about internet problems before we started this restream, so this E-Sprite speaks to me, Scarcerer.
And the Z-Sprite is cute. Yeah, it's taunting everyone.
Okay.
Don't worry, you're not being singled out by Zeromus. Zeromus is the hatred. He will do anything to get under your skin.
It makes sense. Like I said, definitely used to a game where it's all-encompassing evil. Don't let the cuteness fool you, although, again, it is a very cute sprite. But yes, very much a taunting sprite here. We see Zerks coming out. The whole goal here is to not see a second Big Bang. We have so many levels, I'm not even sure if it really matters. Porum doing her job and taking a nap. And now we just let the damage fly. We just sort of sit back, relax, and let the numbers show up on the screen. But we will also get a forge check. Let's see what it is.
That's a useful item. Maybe not so useful with what we've already had. Oh wait, wasn't it that last time?
No, I thought, or I don't remember anymore. Yeah, I think you're right. But we are doing about 10, 11,000 damage per round here on LUF's side. We are going to see that. I've seen
rounds as high as 13.
We do see that second Big Bang, though, but I feel like we probably have enough magic evade here that it's not really threatening us. We're going to get a Cure 4 off. But it doesn't matter. Get your GGs out in chat. No Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it looks like we're not getting a Cure 4 off because we're killing the boss before we need it.
But with that, LUF does take this Game 3, taking the win of this game and the win of the series, is going to be facing Possum Morpheus in the round of 16. And I believe we are joined by LUF. GG's.
GG's, LUF.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I see on the chat right now. I don't know how to feel about this one. I guess Rando gonna Rando because I don't feel like I ever deserve this one. I did so many stress mistakes, so many the all run, doing some bad setups, having to reload because I forgot to do this. I forgot to do this. I think I actually failed something like 3 trap chests. So I guess it all came down to voting difference. I believe that Vitasia actually did pretty much the full clear of the moon or something like that. So yeah. It still is it kind of feels special because it's my first time, having a real legit top 32 experience and actually managing to get past the first round. So hey.
Yeah, it's exciting. Now, I do want to ask, so that first wipe to last arm, is that what pushed you to check Dwarf?
It did. Definitely, because I wasn't sure what was going bad with my setup. And I was like, okay, I need time to think. So I'm gonna do Dwarf. I wasn't sure after checking Harm if I was gonna do Dwarf or if I was gonna check the Moon already. It was pretty much 50-50. But it kind of forced the play because I needed time to think, and lo and behold, I forgot to equip the Avenger on Edge. So that was my problem. It showed me what was going to happen, and hey, there was a Twin Harp. So it's very, very, very a lot of incredible luck on my side there.
And hey, that's what a randomizer is, right?
It is.
Especially in this sort of flag set, you get a lot of power. I mean, I assume you were pretty happy with the amount of power the seed threw at you.
Definitely. I mean, any seed that you actually decide to just dart some Excals and stuff like that, because you're stuck in front of a Demist, is a seed with a lot of power for sure.
Well, I mean, so what's going through your mind at the very beginning of that seed? You know, probably most of us are thinking, oh, Upland Castle, and then you get sort of that initial moment where you see, oh, I just started with an Earth Crystal.
Oh, I went through this many times in practice. If I get an Earth Crystal, I do check the treasury right at the start. There are even times where I like, if let's say I have a Sid or an Edge, or something like that, I like to check Bedward first, just in case I get something strong or a nice weapon that would let me go through the Flame Doggo very quickly. So it was pretty much obvious for me, and that I would go for the treasury. I did kind of skip that, not intentionally in the second match. So I was like, hey, why don't I repeat that? Why don't I try to go low character? And that is what actually pushed me to not try Dwarf Castle when I was on the ground. I was like, hey, I want to pull something like Joe did and only go with 3 characters for Z. But after all, I needed that Sid somehow.
I mean, that's a statement I think some of us would definitely caution.
But still, it worked out. So I'm very glad of that. I do see that Vitasia is done. So GG Vitasia.
GG's to Vitasia. No, I mean, this series between you and Vitasia have been very close. All your races have been decided within a few minutes of one another. And indeed. I think 2 of the races, this one included, the objectives you did were not the same.
Exactly. It was pretty much always routing differences. I believe this was pretty much the closest, most even match there was in the top 32. I was looking at the bracket, I was looking at Vitasia, and I respect Vitasia a lot. Let's say there would have been a bracketology. If it wouldn't have been 50-50, I would have been surprised, because I think we're pretty much even. We don't do the same mistakes, we don't have the same strength, but I think it was pretty much 50-50. So Vitasia still had quite a great run, managed to take game number 1. He's a very good runner. So you have everything to be proud of yourself if you're listening to this already, Vitasia.
No, absolutely. And I think a lot of us drafters sort of made our matches to the point where we wanted them to be interesting round 32 matches. I think overall we've been pretty successful at doing that. All 3 of your races were very exciting to watch. And I will be very interested to see you race Possum Morpheus, who's your next round opponent. I know we'll wish you luck. That is definitely a tough challenge. But if there's
I wish you all the luck with that.
But if there's
This is
anything
gonna be
we've
hard.
learned about this flag set, I mean, anyone can beat anybody, really. The power is there, so you feel free to do what play your game.
Indeed, I'm gonna try to adjust a lot to Possum. I mean, it's pretty much one of the greatest player that the community ever had. He's just incredible to everyone, and I had a lot of interaction with him, with the event team and all. So, the way I approach this is, I actually managed to finally break the top 16. I still have 2 matches left, and if I actually play a third one, well, yay! I actually managed to do something I did not expect. So that's pretty much my mindset. I'm gonna try to do a lot of wacky stuff though, because that's pretty much the only way I think I can win against Possum. But we'll see.
I will say it can be certainly a lot more fun.
Definitely.
I don't think I have any further questions for you, Scarcer. Do you have any questions for our winner?
No, I think you've covered everything, Fiery. Just once again, GG's. And congratulations on the big accomplishment of making it to the round of 16 in your first brackets match.
Yep, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone in the restream team. You do an incredible job. This is incredible. This is marvelous what you all do. So thanks for having me on stream.
I think we'll say thank you and for the rest of the event team for running this tournament.
Well, thank you very much. But, all of that would be impossible without the whole community. So thanks everyone for participating in this tournament.
Absolutely. And we will see you in the round of 16.
Indeed. See you.
And we are joined by Vitasia. GG's. A little unfortunate again on the routing, doing completely different objectives, but still incredibly run, incredibly close. How are you feeling, man? The beginning was very nice. Yeah. I thought you ran an amazing race. Just Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, I was feeling really just pretty good about my routing. I was feeling fantastic about the decision and my play. I mean, how many people are can almost full clear all of the underground and then get to the moon, and I'm like, man, I'm sitting at 101 and almost full clearing the moon. I'm feeling great. So I pull up to Z and see the dot done, and I my heart just sinks, because at that point I know it was like I got randoed hard. And sure enough, I asked afterwards, Dwarf Castle with the Twin Harp, you could fade just all of that moon that I did. So hats off to LUF. LUF has my number. He beat me last tournament, and now he's beat me 2 out of 3 in this one. So kudos to him. Just a fantastic runner, and I'll get you next time.
I'm sure those will be series to watch, as this series was. Yes, very impressive clearing the vast majority of the moon, and basically the entire Earth, including a Zot climb, in an hour 15 minutes. Certainly a very well-run race by you. Just, again, the nature of a randomizer. What were your thoughts when you saw the blue robe sitting there at Cave Bahamut?
Part of me was a little bit upset at myself for wasting time. I mean, because I did things like climb ordeals. I checked the giant boss. There were a lot of checks that I made that was just like, okay, let's just check the boss. But there's a low percentage chance for that. So I saw that and I was like, okay, cool. I shouldn't prioritize bosses now. I did open a few treasure chests. I did want to prioritize kind of key lunar locations, just from the percentages. But opened a handful on my way down. The easy behemoth chest that I could, 2-swing with edge. That edge was stacked. But it was nice to see. I felt pretty good about everything. It just didn't Yeah, I mean, about the only thing I wish I would have done is swapped out that crystal sword for. I think I had a dragoon lance by then, where I was like, hey, just in case, But oh well.
Yeah, you're right. So I was remarking on this as you were going to that blue road. The only dragon killing gear that we had was that first behemoth chest dropping a dragoon spear. So we didn't get a dragon whip or anything like that until that point, I believe.
Okay, I mean, I think I also I might have gotten one in the Carry Warlock chest on my way to the Mura altar as well. I think.
Okay,
But
that
yeah, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't have one for that particular fight, and because I remember thinking to myself, "Hey, I could take like Bibby and Jimmy on my way down here." No, no, no. Just take the stuff that you know that you can clear in like less than 10 to 15 seconds. So I hit the behemoth chests, and then I dropped down to, of course, Ribbon Room. I saw Golbez, and I'm like, I'm absolutely not wasting a second on this. No way.
The correct call. Never waste your time with Golbez.
Yeah, and then instead of doing, and I don't know if this was the right play mathematically, but instead of doing the Masa altar, I thought I have the Crystal Sword altar and I have a bunch of trap chests this other direction, so I'm gonna go take care of all of those. Found the Legend Sword, fantastic, and at that point I was like, okay, we gotta go. But yeah, it's all for naught when the one place in the underworld. Now, I will do that check. I will fade dwarf every single time. I had my party. I was happy with my party. I didn't need an extra character. And it's 2 cutscenes and 2 bosses. I was just like, I only lose if it is exactly the Twin Harp. And it kind of was this time, which sucks. But that's freedom.
Yeah, and you knew what that first or that second boss was because you climbed up Zod.
Right.
Now, if you're like me and immediately forget it, then it doesn't matter too much. But
yeah. So I mean, I knew it wasn't. I just knew it wasn't a blue robe, is what I remember. So I was like, okay, it's one boss and a single key item check after like a whole bunch of cutscenes. It just wasn't an efficient check, and I was trying to move through and blow through everything as efficiently as possible. But kudos to LUF. I think LUF will have Possum in the next round, so best of luck.
that is correct. Yeah, I mean, a little bit unfortunate too that Magma Q sitting at the freebie and not having you go to Dwarf. That would have been nice if it was hidden at, say, like Sealed Cave. But again, just a very well run race. Lots of power. I'm sure you enjoyed that. Scarsor, do you have any other questions for Vitasia?
No, once again, I think you've covered everything, and Vitasia, you've spoken for yourself. Any final thoughts on the seed, on the tournament, on your performance?
I mean, I found that I really enjoyed the one-on-one matchups of this tournament a whole lot more than I did the asyncs, because I think I tended to get frustrated a lot with the asyncs because this was one of those seeds where not doing the one thing like this particular seed, and all of a sudden you feel like you've run a great race, but you get crushed. So overall it was a fun tournament. I'm happy that everyone kind of came together and put this together. I'll still be in the commentary booth. And now that I'm out of the tournament, I think I can actually do some of my admin duties, which to help out with everyone else behind the scenes. So I just kudos to Fiery, Scarcer, you two for doing the comms, Aaron Lore for the restream, Bangagong for tracking, and everyone else in the community. Thank you so much. And you haven't heard the last of me, so I'll be around.
Oh, it'd be great to hear you on comms for sure. Always great watch when you're on comms. So, thank you again for volunteering as well. On commentary, like I said, very nice to hear your voice. Very knowledgeable player as well.
All right, everyone, take care. Have a great rest of the night.
Have a good night.
I would say this race did not disappoint, Scarcer.
No, it was a very exciting race to watch. Both players very efficient, and we got to see different routes with almost the same time.
Sort of what was advertised based on games 1 and 2. But no, that was certainly a great watch. I believe we are going to send everyone off to RPG Limit Break doing Questing for Glory. I believe there is one more restream tonight, if I am remembering correctly. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is Dubword versus Infineous. That is Game 2. That will be right here on Free Enterprise Main. Once again, I want to thank my co-commentator Scarcer. I want to thank Arlenor for restreaming and rolling this wonderful seed, and Bangagang for tracking. I am Fiery Blizzard, and again, thank you all for watching. Thank you to our runners. Make sure to follow them. Put on a wonderful show to us. I hope you all have a good rest of your day.